Wealthy neighbors. Treat us like lower class and complain on Facebook group about every tiny thing. I never thought I'd be living in a place like this. A smaller apartment, sure, but in this fancy development that people always brag about? Not in a million years. I grew up with nothing, scraping by on whatever I could, so owning an apartment here feels surreal. My boyfriend and I, we busted our asses for years saving every cent. Sure, this place is way over our budget, but we're surviving. The first day we moved in, I was feeling optimistic. We left a box of chocolates and a note at each door on our floor, saying hello and hoping to make some connections. No one said a damn word. Fine, whatever, maybe they're just busy. Then came the first encounter. I was dragging a bag of clothes in the hallway, taking it out of the van, when this guy with a stroller rammed into my stuff. No apology, no excuse me, just pure entitlement. I didn't even get a chance to react because he kept ramming the stroller over the bag like he was trying to prove a point. The hallway was wide enough for him to go around, but he went right through my things. He didn't even look at me. I stood there like an idiot thinking, did that just happen? Later that day, my boyfriend and I were carrying boxes, and this woman looked at my sneakers. Yeah, they're old and wrecked, but so what? She smirked, like I was something she scraped off her shoe, and then let the door slam right in my face while I was struggling with a heavy box. That's when I realized these people weren't just rude. They thought we didn't belong. A few days later, we discovered the apartment complex's Facebook group. My boyfriend joined it because apparently that's where all the residents post updates about the building, things like maintenance alerts and events. I didn't care much at first. But then, it got ugly. Remember the stroller guy? Well, 20 minutes after the whole ramming incident, he posts a novel about keeping the hallways clear, and how this isn't a hostel, some of us have children. He didn't say a damn word to my face, but he had plenty to say online. 30 people liked the post. 30. And there we were, new and already getting targeted in some passive-aggressive online witch hunt. A few days later, some guy posts about dog poop in the hallway, and how newcomers need to learn the rules. I don't even own a dog. I was out of town all weekend, but guess who everyone assumed it was? Me, the newcomer. It's like they needed a scapegoat, and we were it. But it got worse. One morning, we woke up to a photo someone posted of our car in the parking lot. Someone can't park properly, they wrote. And in the picture? All their fancy BMWs and Audis lined up perfectly, with our beat-up little Honda just barely touching the line. We weren't even over the line. The front right wheel was an inch inside it. No car was even parked next to us, but that didn't stop them from humiliating us. I told my boyfriend, we can't let them walk all over us like this. But he shrugged it off. He's way more laid back than me, and he just wanted to ignore them. But I couldn't. Every time I saw someone in the hallway, I felt like they were talking about us, judging us. I was anxious all the time. Then came the birthday incident. My boyfriend's 30th was coming up, and I wanted to do something small, just the two of us. I ordered a cake, picked up some beers, and we set up a little celebration in our apartment. We were laughing, having a good time, until there was a knock on the door. I opened it to find one of our neighbors standing there, looking pissed. "Do you think this is a frat house?" she asked, glaring at the beers on the table. I was speechless. We weren't even being loud. I looked at my boyfriend, who was just as stunned as I was. "Excuse me?" I finally managed to say. She crossed her arms and said, "People live here with children. We don't need your parties disturbing the peace." Then she walked off without waiting for a response. We weren't disturbing anyone. It was just the two of us, having a few beers in the evening. But that didn't stop her from complaining about us in the Facebook group later that night. "Some people think they're living in a college dorm," she wrote, and of course the usual suspects liked and commented, agreeing with her. I wanted to scream. I hadn't done anything wrong, but it didn't matter. I was the outsider, the poor girl from the wrong side of town who somehow slipped into their fancy building. And they were going to make sure I knew it. By the time Christmas rolled around, I was dreading every interaction with these people. We had decided to keep to ourselves, but that didn't stop them from finding new ways to make us feel unwelcome. We bought a tiny little Christmas tree and put it on our balcony. It wasn't anything special, but it was ours, and we loved it. 2 days later, there was a post in the Facebook group. Someone had taken a picture of our tree, zoomed in to make it look small and pathetic next to all the fancy decorations other people had put up. The caption? Some people really shouldn't bother. That's when I lost it. I grabbed my phone and started typing, ready to let them all have it. But my boyfriend stopped me. "Don't," he said. "It's not worth it." I threw my phone down on the couch. "I'm sick of this. They treat us like garbage. We're paying just as much as they are to live here, and they act like we're trash." He didn't say anything. He just sat there, staring at the Christmas tree. I could tell it was getting to him too, but he didn't want to admit it. He's the type who avoids confrontation at all costs. But me? I was ready to fight. It all came to a head last week. I was in the elevator with one of the neighbors, a woman I hadn't seen before. She was dressed in designer everything, her dog in a little outfit that probably cost more than my entire wardrobe. I smiled at her, trying to be polite, but she didn't even look at me. Instead, she glanced at my clothes, leggings and an old hoodie, and wrinkled her nose. I felt the anger rising inside me, but I kept quiet. Then, as we were getting out of the elevator, her dog peed on the floor. She didn't even try to clean it up. I couldn't believe it. "You're just going to leave that there?" I asked, my voice shaking with frustration. She looked at me like I was something stuck to her shoe and said, "It's none of your business." That was it. I snapped. "You people treat us like we're lower class just because we don't have a BMW or a designer clothes. You think you're better than us, but you're all just a bunch of miserable assholes." She didn't respond. She just walked away, her dog trotting behind her, leaving a trail of piss in the hallway. I stood there, shaking, my heart racing. I was done. I couldn't live like this anymore. Update. After that confrontation, I told my boyfriend we needed to leave. I couldn't live in a place where people treated us like garbage. He agreed, though reluctantly. We're now looking for a new apartment, somewhere more our speed, where people don't judge you based on the car you drive or the clothes you wear. But even as we're preparing to move, the Facebook group drama hasn't stopped. Someone posted a rant about people who can't handle living in a nice area and how they should have stayed where they belong. I know it was about us. I didn't even bother responding this time. We're done with these people. Let them have their fancy building and their Facebook group. I just want to live somewhere I can breathe without feeling judged. We finally found a new place. It's not as fancy as the old one, but the neighbors are friendly, and no one cares what kind of car you drive. We've been here for a week, and I already feel like a weight has been lifted off my shoulders. Looking back, I realize now that those people were never going to accept us. They needed someone to look down on, and we were the easiest targets. But I'm done letting them make me feel like less. We worked hard to get where we are, and no one can take that away from us. Good riddance to them.